Welcome to the Motor Life F1 podcast, episode 14. As usual, we're always on the lookout for interesting guests to chat about F1. And today we have a lovely lady called Amy Wahome. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Limo. Pleasure to be here.
You're a communications consultant with Oxygen Communications?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And how did you get interested in F1?
Wow. Long story. First of all, I love fast cars. Everyone who drives in my car or anyone who has a pleasure of being driven by me always says I'm a fast driver. So I'm obsessed with fast cars, right? But it's just a love for motoring, really. And F1 for me, it's been like a journey. Actually, not a very long journey. It's been 4 years, just 4 years. But the obsession and just the passion that comes out of it, just from watching and it being F1. Is on another level. So that has been it. But I think in a nutshell, I love driving, love being fast. Yeah.
What was your first attraction point to the F1?
Guess what? Actually, it was, this sport where people say there's this lovely guy who always drives cars, he always wins. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I can't watch a race where it's only one person who's winning. And actually attended a few when I was not all that into that. I mean, I was not all into F1. I'm like, there's only one guy who wins these races. And then it got me thinking, read about it, started watching it. And then from then, and I thank God I actually did, from then and then coming of the Drive to Survive show on Netflix, getting to understand the drivers, reading about them, seeing the sport develop, drivers develop, different winners, different dynamics in teams. And, that's what that drew me to it. And just the love for, what it is, the engineering behind it, the driver stories, the characters, they just make it all worth the while. And the conversations around it from the groups that we are in together in F1, just getting to understand people's perspective, whether it's rational or non-rational. I think, it's what makes sports, right? Whether it's football, whether it's F1, whether it's basketball. I think, for me, that was where the love was really rooted.
Okay. Now we're in an official group of F1.
Yes.
Are you also in paddock? Are you in?
Yes, I'm in paddock.
Paddock.
Yes.
And choices or not? Or you didn't do that one?
No.
Okay.
Paddock and motorsports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite driver and team currently?
No secret. Max Verstappen, Sergio comes a close second. I love Ham's spirit. I also love the Italians. I don't know, because of their hospitality, there's just something about them. But I think Max takes, it's Max.
And perfect, because you've just gone to pay homage to Max.
Absolutely.
You're just back from the Heineken Dutch Grand Prix.
Absolutely, in Zandvoort.
Now, we're going to talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
What was the genesis of this journey to go to Zandvoort?
Wow. It's been in the works for 3 years. Like, I have spoken about it with a friend of mine for like 3 years, saying I must attend a race. Like, I have to be part of the adrenaline. And guess what? I did Zandvoort. And for me, it was clear. I mean, it was a no-brainer. Zandvoort had to be my first race because it's Max's first home. Also, the fun, we have a lot of fans in common there, whether I know them or not. I've seen the spirit from the races online. And let me tell you, if you're there, it's not even half of what you guys see or what we see on telly. So for me, Zandvoort was it. I love the Netherlands as well. Very easy to move around logistically. And yeah, it had to be Netherlands. It had to be Zandvoort.
We all have wish lists.
Yeah.
But then now to make the leap to now maybe go now swipe your card or say I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Was there any push or just to say I've said it long enough, I must do it now?
That was it actually. I was like, stop speaking, do it. I actually booked for this trip at the beginning of the year.
2024 now.
Yes. In March. So I got online, booked for my tickets, for my Ben Pon tickets, because I knew exactly where I wanted to sit. And it was a very good vantage point. Booked for it, reserved my plane tickets, and I was like, Husa, it's done. We are going. So, and as is any travel, you really have to think about it. You have to plan. We have different responsibilities. It's not a cheap ticket, I'll tell you that for sure. But all worth a while. all the while.
We're friends of yours on Instagram and on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You had great seats.
I did.
You had great seats.
I did.
Did you check a seat map to say this is where I want to be? Did you Google? Did you?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay.
I did all that. I looked at the site maps. I looked at videos online. I was in the Ben Pon grandstands. So I knew what seat 1 and what seat 150 looked like because I had seat, I think, 156. So I had to check the vantage points. And, for every location you sit, there's a price to it, right? So Ben Pon was nice. There are other places, of course, that are excellent. Like I would have loved to be, at the start line where Max and Nori started, but it was equally a good location because that's where they go into the pits. You saw some of my videos. That's where the drivers start their parade. So yeah, it was a lot of research.
What was the first car you saw go by? Do you remember that?
Yes, I did. A Haas.
A Haas. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually.
I remember mine was a Jordan years ago.
Yeah.
The team is not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you never forget that moment.
No, you never. Yeah.
The ferocity, the size of the car,
absolutely.
the speed.
Yeah.
Haas. Okay.
So, and before that, I had done, I think, a motorsports. So it was, it's different feelings because for me, I think just seeing any car on that track, and we actually from TV you see cars with different speeds and everything, but let me tell you, like watching that race live, they are all as fast. Yeah. They are all as fast. You're like, I even don't understand what happens on telly, but it is what it is. I think there's a magic to engineering.
So what was your airline journey like? How was the embassy? Or you already had a visa, Euro visa, airline routes?
Absolutely. So I'm a great planner. Okay. I've traveled a lot, so it takes a lot of planning. So even my visas I had already applied for my visas in April. I got my visa. It was smooth. It's a Schengen visa. So that was smooth as well. Airlines, I really wanted a comfortable flight. At that point, Emirates were giving, it was, the rates were pretty decent. And then because I'm also a long-legged giraffe, so I have to look for flights that I'll be comfortable for a couple of hours because it was around 15 hours. So from Dubai to Schiphol. So there's that. So booked, visas easy to get, to be honest. Flights equally the same. When you book your tickets on the F1 store, they actually give you a month to the race or a few weeks to the race. So they open up. So that's when it was absolutely smooth. They send to your email, you download, and that's what you go back and forth with for the season. Just your code. Yeah.
What accommodation, local transport?
Oh, yes. So
you saw a lot of bikes on Instagram.
So my God, about that. So I stayed in central Amsterdam actually. And it's not because I will not have stayed like closer places like there's Haarlem and there's Zandvoort itself, right? But by the time you're booking, hotel rates are over the roof, especially in Zandvoort and in Haarlem. I actually initially wanted to stay in Haarlem, but because I'm a tourist, I chose to stay in Amsterdam. And I stayed in a central hotel where it was a walking distance to the train station. I can walk around, have some food around, have a drink, so that it's very easy. My movements are very easy and I do not have to take a taxi because taxis are mad expensive.
Okay.
So for me, it was walking and training up, right? And then I was also lucky to have a friend down there who drove me around, but that was way later. But we used the train.
Okay. Did you do all the 3-day package? I
actually booked for the 3-day package, but I arrived late on Friday. My visa, actually, I was given a visa a day late.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had planned to do the whole, but I was there on Saturday and Sunday, so all the while. So listen, what I found interesting is that there is no public transport or private transport that was allowed in the town of Zandvoort, save for those who live in Zandvoort. So it was purely public transport. So you're either biking, you're either taking a train, or you're walking.
How do they do that? How do they separate tourists from locals?
The plate,
okay,
the number plate. So if you come from whatever town, there's a way they separate. So in fact, there's a friend of mine who was in Netherlands at the same time, and she wanted to go to the beach, which is at Zandvoort.   She could not access it. So the order I was wondering, I was panicking the first time. I was like, how am I going to navigate when I got to the train station? How am I going to navigate all these people? And then let me tell you, it's so smooth. You get on a train, it's all well marked, like this way to F1. You just use your Visa card. If you have a MasterCard, it's easier because you just tap, get into the gates, walk with people, trains are there, get to Zandvoort, alight. It's very well marked, We were thousands and hundreds and thousands of people. But let me tell you, the order. If you're biking, the bikes are arranged like, it's like scientific. There's a way they're all arranged, they're all similar colors, And what I found even, why I'm even saying, what I found really interesting is even people living with disabilities got to access that race. And it was as smooth as it was for us. So for me, the order was like mind-blowing. There's no push and pull. We are walking at some point by the beach. We are walking on a small cable road. No one is kicking the other.
No overlapping.
No overlapping.
Oh, wow.
No, trying to skip the line. You get onto the lines where you now have to scan your code. We are, again, 100,000 of us, but it is the most smoothest process I've ever seen. And I tell you, so many people who are there who are differently abled, and they all accessed it. Like there's a gentleman I saw twice. I'm like, this is what it takes. This is what it takes. Small planning and just very excellent planning takes to host a race. If it's merchandise, there are locations throughout, whether it's at the train station, if you want to buy something, halfway through, there's food, there are drinks, and even when we are going to even queue up for a drink, no overlapping. Sustainability is on another level. If you buy a can, you're given chips where you exchange, and you get a can for a lesser amount of money. If you do not have the chips, you pay extra so that they're able to recycle. I never stepped on a banana peel. I never stepped on a bag. I never stepped on anything like a paper. The order on another level. On another level. I will comfortably do it again.
That's good to hear because a couple of the older European circuits, they are coping with the logistical challenges because they're 20, 30, 40-year-old circuits.
Yeah, exactly.
And now F1 has exploded, and then they're not used to having 200,000 people on the weekend.
Yeah.
So you have queues for food, queues for trains, but you're saying Zandvoort is well situated for...
It is the most amazing experience I've only been to Zandvoort. I would love to attend other races, but for me, the planning was crazy. Like it was something else. And actually, there's something I read that the city of Zandvoort had actually said they'll ban private transport before the races. And, there's always criticism, it's not going to make it. And they applied something called the stomp, which is cycling. You either walk or you take public transport. Let me tell you, it was so well executed. Even in trains, because we are many of us, there's a method to everything. Those who are differently abled, have their own area where they can just, in fact, it's not designated. It's just the respect people have, different area where people access it. The rest, you just do it in a very orderly manner. Like there's no one time I was like hanging around wondering when I'm going to get back to my hotel. So for me, the order was something else. It was crazily well organized. I was never able not to access a drink, for instance. My cards worked perfect. So even the integration, and actually, interesting enough, Netherlands, MasterCards work more because there are places where you'll go outside of town and I can't use my card.
Yes.
But those ones you're like, I'm not sure my card will work. I do not have enough euros. It never ever happened. Ever. When you get into the ring, to the sitting areas, your seats are marked very well. No one will sit on your seat. No one will remove your seat numbers. Listen.
Standards
on another level. I want to attend others. I see the experience, but from my first experience, it was quite smooth. Quite smooth.
And you're with the Orange Army.
Yeah.
What was the expectation like? Because this is Max's home race.
Yes.
3 times a winner.
Yes.
And of course, after the first lap, what was that like? How was the crowd noise? What was the expectations?
Let me tell you, when they began, even when they were doing the formation,
yes.
not even on Saturday, yes. When they're doing the training, like people just celebrate him so much, and it's celebration with so much style and let's say professionalism. Like, we'll imagine that people will be screaming, throwing hands. Okay, that's something I found different from our crowds and their crowds. But whenever a Red Bull car just passes, the crowd is just, you can tell the energy. Sergio passes the same. And funny enough, they love the McLarens.
Orange.
The noise is not as much as the Red Bulls, but even when Norris, won, everyone just stood up, clapped, sat down.
Was there any downcast views when Norris passed on lap 15 or 16? Or
I tell you for sure. Okay, there was like uproar in the. Everyone was like, "Damn," but you'll expect aggression. We always so aggressive in these WhatsApp groups. You imagine it's the same thing that's happening. It's not the same. Of course, it's disappointment. The crowd feels, and the noises were there. Like, oh man, but. It is what it is. But let me tell you, they celebrated him as it should be. And whenever even Max passed, whether it's 20 seconds later, because there's a time we were behind by 10, 15, 20 seconds, the love was there. When Sergio does it, when they get to the pits, when they're changing their tires, it's that way. When they were doing the, the rounds, it was, they know who their driver is for sure.
Well, he finished second. He still leads. It was still a good race. It was a good race.
It was a good race. I would have loved to see the orange smoke, but the white was good enough, I guess, because the orange race smoke is only for Max. It's when a Red Bull wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it's a coastal city. Is it Mombasa-ish in that it was not that humid?
No, it was windy and cold at some point. Like on Saturday, it was quite cold, but they had alerted us that it will be crazy winds. So you see, even meteorology is also quite advanced. So yeah, the winds were there. Of course, it affected some cars here and there.
And there was some rain, I think.
Yes,
also.
there was rain on Saturday, but Friday was worse, actually, they said, right? Yes. But Saturday, I think the wind was a lot. At some point, I had a winter jacket on. But Sunday, it was beautiful. It was sunny. Of course, in the evening, they get quite a lot of wind. So there was that. But it favored. It was not too hot, not too cold.
I'm really happy that you had a wonderful first experience with the sport.
Yes. I did. Okay. Yeah.
Now, in between our conversation here today, you've come back from Holland to Nairobi and you've gone on to Rwanda.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of talk about Rwanda.
Yeah.
They host the FIA
the award ceremony
award dinner in December.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of talk about if Rwanda can be the host of an F1 circuit. Many people, Lewis Hamilton, the sport, they're talking about having a race in Africa.
Yeah.
How would you rate those wishes?
Listen, I think there's a reason why they're hosting the award ceremony. And I think coming from Zandvoort, there's a lot of order in Rwanda. And it's something that I've seen over the years I've traveled to Rwanda. Are they ready to host? Like, I was in the Africa Food Systems Forum, but we were around 5,000 delegates. Are they ready to hold 1,000 delegates? Or fans, motor racing fans?
100,000.
100,000,
yes.
Let's say? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Whether it's a street circuit, whether it's building a circuit, I don't know. Because there are a lot of factors. You have to look at where people will live. You have to look at movement. Your public transport needs to be very efficient. Remember, these are people who are going in and out of who are in Kigali at once, 100K of them, or in Rwanda, wherever they choose to have it. So from an infrastructure perspective, I don't think we are there yet. I think they did a fantastic job in the basketball championships. I think they did very good because it's an indoor game.
Yes.
But racing, I would want to see the infrastructure they have. I think we are still not there.
Okay.
But I don't want to be pessimistic. I think, for one, they have order.
It's a wonderful city. I love the place, the order.
Yeah.
But really, for mega sports spectacles, I think it's still a bit early.
Absolutely. It's still early.
I think F1 might just maybe look at a place like Morocco, which is like Southern Europe, just tick the box that you had a race in Africa. Because they host Formula E. They've hosted a few of them.
They do. They have the infrastructure.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will be really good if they did one, and I would want to see Rwanda come to that point. But after seeing what I saw, we are still not there yet. And then, Rwanda is also a bit small from a, geographical perspective. So you want to imagine for a country to host, whether it's a street circuit, even in Monaco, you see how the fans is not as many. Even locations where people sit is not as many.
People stay in front. People
absolutely. If you have a boat, lucky you. If you if you have an apartment next to the circuit, lucky you. But where are the rest of the fans? It doesn't pull as many fans as all other circuits. So yeah, I think that would be my position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned your Instagram earlier.
Yeah.
You're quite a world traveler. You're a seasoned world traveler. And I think what's unique about your travels is tick maybe three or four of your favorite countries you've been to.
Yeah.
What are those?
Oh my God, Jamaica will be first. Italy will be second, and the Netherlands will be third.
And then what's unique about you is that when you travel to a city, you also undertake experiences.
Yes, I do.
I think when I travel, unfortunately, it's for seminars and you do 4 or 5 days of, and if they give you an off day, you basically do the package, which they do. You look at the stuff you've done, parasailing, bungee jumping, you've gone to food festivals, zip lining. I mean, did you really skydive in Dubai?
Yes, we did. So listen, I travel quite a lot for work. But for me, if I travel for my own adventures, it has to be an experience, period. I'll not stay in expensive hotels at the expense of my experiences. So that has always been my objective and really my motivation of travel. And for me, it may sound cliche, but it's about living my best life, however small or big it is, and really living a full life. However, an experience has to be in there. So everything at the cost of an experience, no. So for me, experiences are everything. I have to plan what I'm going to do. If it's the Netherlands, I was very clear. I'm going for F1. If I was going for something else, I'll say I'm going for something else and I'll plan towards that. But it has to be looped into an experience. So yes, I've bungee jumped. I've done it in Victoria Falls. I've done the swing, which is called the Big Air Experience.
So you're parasailing.
I've parasailed in Ibiza.
You're in Thailand, the place where they did the James Bond movie.
Yes, been there.
Wow. And even when you travel in Kenya, I think you also make places unique in terms of Lake Turkana.
Yes.
I think the Aberdare picture you have, I mean, nobody would think that is Kenya.
And that's the thing.
Yes.
And it's not just and it's not just going for the sake of going. It's go see the world or our country in a different way and really explore. My friend and I, many years ago, I think, but life has happened. We had a small gig called When in Rome, because we are always roaming. And for us, it was, if you're an adventure and a thriller seeker, travel with us. And I think I really thank her because she inspired me a lot in that, and she really pushed, me out of like a small bubble, right? So we really had fantastic travel time some years ago, but I've still kept it because she was like, you know what, we are going to live a full life in our own small way. We plan, we go, we do it, and we do most of it. But I'm also a bit of a daredevil, so you'll find me doing some crazy things that my mother will not approve. But it's a thrill of it. You have
does
to push.
Does she see the pictures after?
Oh yeah, she does, and she's just like
Okay. She's
like, are you sure? I'm like, no. Before I do it, yeah. But I think she prays for me as well.
You've ticked off many bucket lists. What's the next F1 race you want to go to, or you plan to, or hope to?
I have to go to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And if it's not Austria, it has to be Abu Dhabi. If it's not Abu Dhabi, I have to go to Monza. Yeah.
Come to Ferrari.
Like there's something about the Italian race. So my cousins live there. And they really tell me how. And then there's something about the Italians. They're very passionate. It's like, I think the Dutch, with the Dutch fans, the Italian fans, there's something about them. It's really paying homage, like the Mexicans. So I'm like, it has to be one of those. I've not decided yet, but it has to be one of those.
Now, this weekend, we're going to Azerbaijan, Baku.
Yeah.
You think Chico will have a chance, the king of the streets?
Let's see.
Okay.
I think for Baku, it's how you qualify, right? Because, again, street circuit, maybe a bit of, some places you can overtake here and there. But I find Monaco, Baku, those circuits very tricky. Like it's how you qualify. If you qualify fine, I think you have an opportunity to really to hold on. So let's see how it goes. Not discounting Mercedes and McLarens, of course. I think Leclerc also surprised us this weekend, but I was really happy for him. Actually, I had a conversation with my cousin when I was in the Dutch Grand Prix. So he lives in Italy.
Yes.
And he was making fun of me and he was saying, please don't come to our country and then, we don't win this race. I was like, do you know what I really want is for Sainz to win that race? So that, he just signs off his last year this season with Ferrari with a win. But I guess it was meant to be Leclerc's. So, yeah.
Actually, that's a bit of a mystery because he had much fresher tires.
He did.
And I think the expectation was if they were going for a one-stop, which they did. He would outlast
Leclerc.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We were all surprised at some point. We were like, wait, what? You know what I mean? But I think also it had to do with a bit of the McLaren strategy. I'm not sure. But honestly, I was really happy for the Ferraris. They really deserved this win. And in their home country, you guys, nah.
So your podium picks for Baku, what would you like to see? And what's wrong with Red Bull, by the way? What's your view? What's wrong with Red Bull? And they're the defending champions.
Yes.
They won last year by 20 seconds.
Yes.
So what do you predict for this weekend?
There's so many scenarios. Listen, I've still not lost hope.
Okay.
Constructor championship, I'm not sure. But I've still not lost hope in Max winning. I feel like 1 or 2 wins, the remaining races, he might clinch it. But listen, from Newey leaving, from, the car floor being, I don't know what, to change of engines, I honestly have no idea. Like, even Christian Horner said, and Max, we really don't know what's happening. Trust me, we will want to understand. But I think also, with all the drama that happened at the beginning of the year, we really don't know what's happening behind those, in their factory. So let's see. But I think there's a chance. Let's see. The next 2 races. I always say, I said after this, maybe the next 2 races, let's see how he performs. I really hope the Ferraris have more wins so that the McLaren's points are not as high. Okay. That's what we pray for every weekend, by the way. Anyone else better win. But let's see. But I'm not too confident about the constructors. Driver, I've not lost hope.
So this weekend, we have the Qatar Airways Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Friday, qualifying at 3 on Saturday. Where will you be on Sunday at 2 for the race? Where will you be watching this weekend? You
know what's interesting? I actually watch the race mostly from my house because Sundays are my day with my family. But if I'm not in my house, I'm in K1. Yeah. I tend to like smaller crowds because let me tell you, if there is something that gives me so much pressure to the point of hypertension, it's F1. And I also do a lot of races with my sister, actually. So whether it's her house or my house, and we're exchanging notes, we are jumping up and down, we are screaming, you should see us. Even our kids know. When it's race time, do not talk to us.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you, Limo.
It's Amy Wahome. You can please follow her on Twitter, on Instagram. And follow her wonderful lifestyle. Thank you so much. You had a wonderful time in Zandvoort, and I hope that keep passionate about F1.
I will.
And at the end of the year, we'll see who is champion for both championships.
Crossing fingers. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you.
Cheers.